What is going on, world? Oh my gosh. How's it going, Rocksmith? Ernog. Yes, .NET MAUI is happening. It's happening. Welcome back, everyone. I took a week off. I'll take next week off too, but I am back. Good to see everybody. Hope everyone got their Nintendo Switch OLED on. I locked mine in today. Locked it in on the Walmart.com. A very stressful day yesterday with having Best Buy up for hours upon hours, and Amazon and Target, getting some, removing some, not getting it locked in. It was a very upsetting day in general. I locked it in, which is pretty great today. So pretty excited about that, even though I don't need it, but I want it. So I'm always trying to get the new console. Now, will Walmart cancel my order? Because Target did. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, pretty exciting day, pretty great day. We took our dog to the spa, but with a W, a spa. So she got her nails did, and she got a mud bath. That's pretty cool. I never had a mud bath, but she's more pampered than we are, which is great. Her fur is delightful, very soft, and no longer shedding. So lots of good stuff going on there. Everything else in the life is good. Just got done with Mads, which is pretty exciting. Mads was doing some VS extension work, which is kind of cool because it kind of reminds me of back to my Windows Media Center days and sort of XAML descriptions of UI and a bunch of other stuff. So this is quite exciting. I did even have my Nintendo shirt on, which is exciting. Even though yesterday I didn't get my Switch OLED locked in, but today, locked in. So I hope everyone's doing good. I have like random amount of viewers. That's just a lot. Maybe the VS channel is rehosting me, and then people just fell asleep watching Mads. I assume that's what happened. So that's my assumption. Did get some good feedback on the code reviews that we did a few weeks ago. So I'm going to continue doing those in the future and see how that takes us. As we continue on. Hopefully this thing is using my right microphone. Let me double check everything here. Oh, there we go. That makes more sense. Video, audio. Yep. Okay, everything's correct. That's good. All right, cool. Sometimes things change. So anyways, hope everyone's doing good. Bus, good to see you as well. Today, yes, we're going to do something, which is look to see how we can get kind of things set up for .NET MAUI, and specifically even .NET MAUI Essentials, which would be the evolution of Xamarin Essentials. I was just writing a blog post on this because few things. Let me pull this up over here. Let me go over to my computer. Do I have things turned on? Oh, perfect. I do. Cool. First thing. .NET 6 Preview 6 got announced. .NET MAUI Preview 6 also got announced. I'll have a video coming out on Tuesday about it to see how that goes. So be look to go to my YouTube as well. There's a link right there. But pretty cool stuff David was showing off there. But then also over on the Xamarin blog, Brandon wrote a whole big article on the future of the Xamarin Community Toolkit, which is pretty cool. What is this? When you copy URLs from the URL, okay, cool. He kind of like broke this down, which is cool, talking about the Xamarin Community Toolkit and how it's going to evolve into the .NET MAUI Community Toolkit, how they're going to have back compat libraries, and there, yeah, here's the back compat library. Talk about custom renders versus normal renders, what it'll support, XYZ. And then the unification of the two toolkits into a new community toolkit organization. So no longer a Windows toolkit and a Xamarin or .NET MAUI toolkit all in one. And then roadmap here. So next week I'm going to have a blog on Xamarin Essentials and the roadmap there as it evolves into .NET MAUI Essentials, things there. And over on the Xamarin /Essentials repo, the team just put out 1.7 over here, which has some bug fixes and a few other things, which is cool. So definitely check that out. We might have a patch 171, have a few pull requests in that change a few dependencies for people using older Visual Studio. Neo Trickster, hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, so what I figure we do today, because I got a lot of questions about it, is how to get your machine set up for contributing to .NET MAUI if you wanted to, because there's a lot in here. Over on the pull requests, I just did a pull request here called code tours. So I did these code tours. I'm trying to like do some experimentation to see how we can improve sort of the, I don't know, it's not really the friendliness, but maybe just some of the approachability of some of the repos. So I wrote some code tours up, which kind of walks you through different code, which is kind of cool. So I kind of have a better grasp on the repo a little bit, especially the Xamarin Essentials one. But you can definitely check this out. It's kind of cool. You pull down my branch. Neostrixer said, yesterday I was rude. At least you know, it's okay to be rude every once in a while. Because I just saw double the list of bugs, but now I saw the other side, the team doubles too. Yeah, totally. That's a community toolkit, so the idea is getting more teams involved, the unification, getting more community members involved there too, which is good. And same thing with .NET MAUI, or Xamarin Essentials and .NET MAUI Essentials, is that you know, it's going to be under one umbrella, so the same teams working on it. As that team grows, it'll be all in that same code base and in there too. Because in fact, when you go into .NET MAUI, into source, you'll actually see Essentials, and it's in here. So like this is the MAUI Essentials repo here, and there's actually Essentials Net 6. So you'll see that it's, you know, supports the MAUI Essentials in here. So it's a whole .NET 6 thing, which is cool. So it's all here. They just updated it too, which is today apparently. So that's cool. So what I want to do is I want to make sure my machine is ready here. Let me do this here. Banana. All right, let's look. Oops. Wait, where's my zoom it at? There we go. This is my MAUI check. I need to install some of the latest bits here. So if you don't have MAUI check installed, you can install it with this global tool. You can check out my other videos. What is your thinking in the use of complex data on shell not being supported out of the box? Oh, URL-based navigation? Yeah, that's fine. I mean, ideally you have a data cache layer that you can pull data from, and passing big chunks of data around could slow down some things. This kind of works how Android works in general with the activities. But I use shell in all my apps now, so, and it to me should be the de facto one simple way of doing it. But yeah, I mean, ideally you could shove data in different things or serialize it out or not serialize it out, but kind of depends. All right, let me go ahead and for this. Let's do. I'm on a widescreen, so that's why sometimes it's not in the middle. So okay, so oh, I do have everything installed because I installed it on my other machine. So it's got the OpenJDK. We got Visual Studio 2022, baby. Android emulator, devices. We got that .NET 6 Preview 6. Yeah, there you go. Pedro says you can create your own navigation service. Yeah, that's true. And then that way you could use it only where you want as well. Ooh, I don't know what this is. Edge Web View. Here are the .NET workloads. It all changed to a .NET workloads thing, which is kind of cool too. So let's do this. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is actually like fork it. So let me go ahead and let me just make sure I'm logged in here. Let me get my code. Let me get my code. Look at that security. Okay. So we want to fork it, and I've already forked it here, so I already have it here. So that's one thing that you want to do is fork the repo. You never want to just clone the repo directly. It's nice because you can now do this fetch upstream. I'm going to fetch and merge. So now I have all the latest bits here. So then what I can do is clone it. So we ran Maui check. We got all of our Maui dependencies there. Let's do this. Yeah, the other thing too is the .NET MAUI community toolkit could probably even add some additional things. But I'm a big fan of Shell, what it has. Kind of an easier way of describing things, but yeah. I was going to clone the repo. Nope. Let's paste it in there. I'm going to put this in my D drive, GitHub, James Montemagno /Maui. Put it right there. So small. There we go. That's where we're going to put it. Boop. I guess now it's big, so that's great. Cool. So that's going to just clone the repo. So ideally, you go into the repo. Right, you create a fork of it, and that way you can always keep it up to date. And you always want to work off a branch. You never want to work off of the main branch because that's bad, and then it's hard to do fast forwarding and upstream merging. So you always kind of want to just make a fork, and then you would submit you fork and then a branch, and then you would put the branch over there. But let's look at the Maui repo, and if you actually scroll down, there's all sorts of things. Developer guide. Here, development, and then there's a contributing guideline thing here too. So if we look here, so this one says this contains steps to build and run the .NET MAUI repository. This is a developer guide. So you want to install the SDKs, and then you can run Cake, target on the bin.net, and launch Visual Studio. Okay, let's check this out. So we got this. Let's do D:, and then let's do CD GitHub /Maui. There we go. Let's see .NET. .NET. It says in. You can run Cake target to bootstrap. Let's say dir. It's interesting. I don't know where it says bin/.net. There's not really a bin. Oh, there's a Cake. Let's see what that does. .NET tool restore. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of, I don't know what it's doing right now. It says you can run the Cake target to bootstrap.net 6. Okay, well, I guess I did. Oh, interesting. So it must be looking at so I ran this command, .NET tool restore. Okay. And I guess that is going to look to see what's in this. Is there like a... Let's look. Is there like a... Like, how does it know? There's a global JSON get info. I wonder what that looks at. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think that there'll be shell. You'll have standard navigation too. I don't think you'll not have it. So let's do .NET Cake target equals VS net 6. Okay. I don't know what that does. I wonder if that runs the Cake file in this thing. Okay. Bunch of stuff just happened. Install local tools required. Provision, bin, a bunch of stuff is happening. This is amazing. I don't know what's happening right now, but a bunch of things are installing. Interesting. Hope I just didn't mess up my entire machine. I don't even know what scripts it's running right now. I feel like it's looking probably at this cake file, which is, I'm assuming it's running this build.cake. And I assume that this build.cake is doing a bunch of, I don't know what it's doing. All sorts of stuff. Who even knows what is happening? Look at all this code. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Whole bunch of stuff. Okay. Package is not signed. I don't know what it did, but let's do Maui check again. See if it just messed something up or not. Alright, it says it's good. Oh, I see. I wonder if, yeah, no, good luck reading that cake script. My assumption is that this cake script takes in, see, there's a target, and it's like, oh, run something. So it's verifying. I think Lutz wrote this. Hey everyone, hey Will. I don't know if it's been. It doesn't look like it's been updated to 2022 though. So that's interesting. I don't even know if you need this. Build.script. Not a big cake person. I don't know, just not a big. I'm not a big scripter in general. But let's look at this. Okay, so this is the development. That's interesting. Developer guide. Oh, it says moves to the wiki. There's a wiki page? Okay, let's look at the wiki. Oh, I think I have to go to the .NET wiki. Okay. How to contribute. There you go. Contributing, okay. Prerequisite. So you're going to make sure that you have the contributor license agreement, CLA. Totally got that. Okay, got it. Handler property guide guidelines. All right, let's check this out. What to work on. If you're looking for something to work on, please browse our handler property backlog. I like that. So it's the backlog if you're like, oh, I want to do this thing. Okay. Any issue that is not already signed is up for grabs. Make sure you read over the property PR guidelines. Look at this. This is pretty great. All right. Follow the pull request template. Review process. It's pretty straightforward. So let's explore this puppy. Let's see what we got. And we got build task, Android, iOS samples. I'm assuming it's Maui solution, or maybe it's Maui Net 6. I don't know which one's which. Let's try this one out. Let's try it out. Microsoft Maui Net 6. Let's see what it opens up. Oh, that's cool. To Maui? You can help me out if I haven't gotten it working. Core. I don't know if I opened the right thing. Yeah, to Maui. Did you open up the Microsoft Maui Net 6 or the non 6 one? Let's see what solution I have. There's a lot of stuff in here. Let's do Maui again. All right, so we're in the repo. Let's do just Maui. Let's see what that does. There's less projects, 36. Interesting. Interesting. There's a Blazor section. Okay, cool. Let's see if this... Use the non-6... Oh, there you go. Cool. Use the non-net 6 one. Yeah, this one seems to have load. Well, let us... I'm sorry for the blinking over here. I don't know how to make it not blink for that 1 second when I zoom in on Zoom It. Okay, so what we have here is we have the solution open. Lots of folders. We have controls, which has a source in it, and tests. So for example, here we have all sorts of things. Handlers, controls, shell navigation, platform, shapes. I think that all of the stuff in core, though, is what's important. Here's the handlers. So here's like button, checkbox, date picker elements. So the core is sort of the important part of the Maui stuff. There is controls, but I don't think controls is actually what I think it is. From my understanding, in general, but I don't know. Yeah, that's for the compat. That's what I thought it was. Visual Studio is not like me. There we go. Come on, Visual Studio. Come on, Visual Studio. Visual Studio. It's a preview. You got this. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. You know, I should wait for it to report and redo it. There we go. So stuff in controls is back and back. That's what I thought. Core is like the core. It's the handlers. It's the hotness inside of it. So it seems like we got Microsoft.Maui open. And it's cool because it has a bunch of, editor configs, a bunch of other stuff. This broker thing is just for deploying to device. So if you ever see the broker stuff, that's to get the hot restart going. But all right, so let's get here. We got tests, we got core. Okay, so I think what's inside of here really is mostly handlers. And this is what's inside of here. So here's all of the controls, all right? And if I go to button, there's gonna be a bunch of files. So button.handler, Android, iOS, standard, Windows. All right. So if my understanding is correct, I do believe it is, you have, if it's gonna load, maybe I have to go to 2019, I don't know. Here we go. I think it's just loading up all my stuff. You have button handler, and this is the thing that has the property mapper inside of it. I wonder if I have all the extensions and stuff in Visual Studio installed correct. That'd be a good question. I assume I do, but I don't know. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. We got preview 2. I don't think I need anything else. This one has Windows and this desktop. I think I have everything. Yeah, I think so. All right, there we go. So, popping in. There we go. So the button handler pretty much implements this thing called an I button. So if I click to go to definition here, an I button here, and how do I see where it's at? I think it's inside of core. There we go. So core, these are all the elements over here on the right hand side. So we see I button, I checkbox, I container, I data picker, I element. So these are like some of the events that it has. So press, released, clicked, and it's an I view, and it's an I text, and it has I padding. So it's all interfaces down the line. So if I peek in, you can see I text has text. It has an I text style, which has text color and a font and a character spacing. So it's like all these different interfaces that are implemented on iButton using that there. Does released work in a scroll view? I don't know what that means. So we have button handler though. And what this is saying over here is that everything has a button handler. So you used to have like these renderers and you would do a bunch of things. But what this is saying, it's really nice. It kind of reminds me of Xamarin Essentials in a way, where you sort of have this generic definition, okay, of what's going to be in it. So the I button, it's going to, for all intents and purposes, expose some of the properties that are on here. So we can see I button is on iText, padding is iPadding, font is on iText, characters iText, and then color that's here. And only on Windows or Android does it have a background, it looks like. So it has these different things basically. This is special because I'm assuming that also the button handler, and every control has like a base implementation that handles background. So it's like, hey, these are things that this control needs to implement that's special to this control in properties. If in Xamarin, if your finger slides off a button and you release it and scrolling instead of blocking, I think it's just a button functionality. You probably would want to expose on iOS like touch up outside. There's like touch up inside, but that's probably what you're thinking of in general. But yeah, you can basically map all this stuff. So this is kind of cool that this mapper here doesn't have a lot of stuff. So let's say you wanted to add a new property. All right. So what you could do if it's like specific to the button on here is you could look to see how this was added, right? So iPadding has this thickness. So if you're like, oh, you know what? I want to add something new. I could come in and I could say, you know what? A button has a, let's see how the padding was done. So if we go to definition, it was a thickness over here. So if we go to iButton, I could say int my property get. So we're going to add like a new property, right? I'm going to put a definition in there and say my special property. All right. So then you could come back into your handler. And then what you would do is you would say, you'd want to organize it here. So I would say, let's add something into the property bucket. Look at that. I'm just going to tab around. And then here, these are all the properties on iButton. And remember that we see a lot here, but it's because there's so many interfaces that are implemented, and a lot of those are handled by the base class. I should be able to do my property. I could say then map my property. Now this doesn't exist yet, and we're going to implement it. I'll show you how this kind of trickles down the line. Look at that. It's like thinking it should do something. That's good. There's that. So like this to me is cool because it reminds me a lot of the Essentials APIs, and I'll walk through that API because I think a lot of people could start contributing to that today, even if you didn't want to do .NET MAUI stuff. You can do .NET MAUI Essentials. So inside of here we have my property, map my property, and then here we have map padding. So these are sort of I would call this the platform implementation. So whenever someone calls padding, it's basically going to map to this method that's going to get called, right? So if I actually go into this map property, see it's a method that gets called right here, map text, and it passes in the handler and it passes in the iButton. So you have these two different properties here, which is kind of cool. So let's do that. Let's go to definition here and let's add another one. So I'm going to say map my property. Okay, so we're going to extend it. So let's say you had something that you wanted to expose. For example, like this user here that was in here, maybe they wanted another property to say, trigger this event when the user scrolls and you're outside of, you've clicked it, but you've scrolled away, but you still clicked the button, which isn't a click actually at all. So there's that. So check this out. This is inside of a file called button handler dot standard. Okay. You see that right here, dot standard. There's standard, and this button is like shared. To me, this gets called by everybody. And then you have Android, iOS, and then a Windows implementation over here, right? But you have button handler dot standard, and this is the platform abstraction. So this code here, this handler gets called for everybody. So it's like, hey, map all my properties. So here you go. It's a bucket of properties. Go do that. And then this button handler is like, hey, here's the public API that's going to get swapped out for iOS, Android, or Windows. Now, in Xamarin Essentials, these throw exceptions normally, and we'll kind of walk through that in .NET MAUI Essentials too. But in this case, this will just not do anything. So, for example, if you were, let's say you were going to create your own .NET MAUI backend for like a Raspberry Pi or for Linux, maybe there is no text color or character spacing. You just wouldn't do anything. And it wouldn't do anything because if you scroll over, you'll see that it just doesn't do anything in this code base, which is kind of cool. There we go. Make that a little bit bigger down there. But we have all these different sort of shims, if you will, and they get bait and switched out. So if you wanted to come in and do stuff, and anyone can correct me in the chat because I haven't contributed to .NET MAUI at all, so I'm kind of doing my own thing. What you'll see is that inside of the Android and iOS here, you're going to see a bunch of platform-specific code. And you'll see everything like map background, right? Here's map background. So what I could do is I could say public static void map my property, okay? And here we're just going to copy and paste this in. And then here's what I think is super neat about it. Okay, check this out. Well, look at this. Tab to accept. I can say handler. So what gets passed in here is a bunch of stuff. Let's zoom in again. We get a click listener. We get has container, the MAUI context, the native view if it needs a container, all sorts of like different native or the handler itself gets different properties that are exposed. Like here's services, the iService provider, for example. There's a touch listener that's a button touch listener. So you can get access to some of this stuff in here in the abstraction coming in. And this is coming in from the button handler. So if we go into that, like we saw earlier, let me zoom out here. Go to definition. We get the button handler inside of here, but it's a partial class too. So this is the button handler. So there is some things like it is a view handler, and the view handler has information like the native view, container view, the MAUI context, and things like that. And that's specific for each platform. So basically every control here will have a bunch of different platform specific base functionality that's inside of it. And that's all handled automatically. So every control knows how to like add itself to a view, remove it from a container, all sorts of stuff, which is cool. So what that means is down over here, I can now do .native view, and then as long as it's not null, it's going to return the native view back to me, which is an app compat button. Now this is cool because we actually see up here that is the view handler. The view handler is saying, hey, I'm an iButton, and I'm going to give you back an Android X app compat widget app compat button. So that means any native control, you can create an interface for it that will be implemented that could take advantage of some of the base functionality, such as how it's drawn, how it's laid out, and all those different things. And you can just implement some of those different properties automatically. So we get the iButton, the app compat button. Hopefully, President, this makes sense to how I'm throwing it down here. But me coming in, I actually know very, very little about the project structure. I don't work on it, right? But I go to core and I find just this one bucket, and now I can extend this button. I can add a whole bunch of properties to the button. I can make this a super button. You know what I mean? Or I can make a button EX handler, and I can make a iButton EX, which is super button that does some awesome thing, or any other control that you want inside of it. So this is nice because now I can then call anything, right? So I have access here to every single native control that's inside of this. So if I wanted to expose auto link mask or auto size text type or tint blend mode or baseline or break strategy, for example, on the text, I could set those there. All these different native controls. I could expose access and an abstraction that way, whatever my property is. If I wanted to have elevation or something like that, which is super nice. So there's basically every single property available to you in a single line of code. And I think that's really nice is see how I like literally added a feature and exposed a property in like 5 seconds. I didn't really do anything. Now, I think what's really cool is that you can also do, let's check this out. I think you could do like, you could do something like this. Like if you were creating your own custom control in like the real world, I think I could do like if Android and if, and I think I could do like, let's switch this down over here to Android. I think I could do like test, this is a string, right? And then I think I could do like, let's look, this is like a handler button. Does that work? Is this button handler? Oops. I actually don't know if this works or not. I was hoping it would. I could just do like, yeah, I could do like handler dot native dot, and I could say like, you know, live region, or maybe like this thing. It'd say like title. Does that work? I actually don't know if that works. I'm gonna do this maybe. Does that work? Oh, yeah, I just do, oops, not that. This. Oh, yeah, I need to have that. So I would check to see if that's a null ahead of time or not. I think I just do that. Is that right? Yeah. So if you wanted to expose something, you could just do that. I think I need to do, how do I do this? How do I code? Like inline. Look at that. I think that works. No? Did I do it wrong? Oh, there you go. Perfect. Yes, there you go. Thanks. Yeah. So, oh yeah. Does this, yeah, that should work. Shouldn't this work? Yeah. I don't know. Oh, yeah, there we go. Handler button. Perfect. Yeah. So this is kind of cool because I'm pretty sure that you can get access to like these button handlers like automatically from your, you know, native code as well. So you could like add in native code property buckets, basically extend the button automatically with these properties. So you could do that there too, which is nice. But I like that basically that's what you get access to. So here you get access to the native view. Okay. Again, so you could do anything, string. Right, and then here, you can't just, you know, make sure that this is here. So you need to, I would basically do if, yeah, return, there you go. Handler, and then I would do dot native view. I don't think the handler can ever be null. Like that, basically, and then return it there, just to be sure, because you're going to set a property, right? That's good. That's it's already there. Oh, button. I don't need to do button. That's pretty cool because these are methods on all of them. Oh, there's extensions methods. Ooh. Ooh, look at this. Whoa. Okay, cool. What? Oh, nice. This is nifty. Wow. This is cool. So what I just realized is like this is an extension. These update text color, update font. Oh my gosh. Wow, how cool is that? Update padding. Cool. So check this out. So for example, there is inside of here. Wow. Core source platform. So if you go into here, core source platform, Android. Whoa. Okay, so there's all sorts of extensions in here. Here's the update text. Oh wow, cool. Huh. So a bunch of extension methods to basically call this native code. Oh, that makes it nice. So that's cool because what you can do in here is instead of, you know, putting this logic inside of here, I think what the recommended pattern is, that's very fascinating, would be to come into your button extensions and then create a public static void update my property. And then take this in. Ooh, wow, interesting. Oh, okay, got it. And then what you'll do is you'll do app compat button dot like that. Bam. Oh, interesting. Oh, just like that. Oh, it's an integer. I should probably not have made it an integer. Let's do string. There you go. My property. That makes sense. There we go. So this makes sense. So we're going to create an extension method. So it's all in one place. So all the button specific things are inside of here. So now inside the button handler, I can just go handler native view. That makes it easier with the oh wow, that's nice. There's button. Wow, that's cool. That's nifty. That is really cool. So what this does is this is a really nice pattern. Wow. Hey Zamalama, how's it going? This is a super nice pattern because what I love here is that previously, see how I had to do like if, you know, handler dot native view equals null and then return. Yeah, what the team did here, very smart. Oh wow, I love it. What they did here is they created an extension method on the native control. And what's cool about that is with C# null coalescing and nullability here is that this update property will never get called if the native view is null. So you never have to do this null check. Wow, that's so cool. So it seems a little funky, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm in this extensions class and like I could just go write that over here and get access to that native control. But now we know that this will never be null, so we never have to check against the null. Wow, that is nifty. That is cool. Wow. That is cool. I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, the notes, I just, that kind of blows my mind. I love looking at code. I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense. Right? And I bet that's the same for like all of these different extensions. There's probably like aspect extension. Oh man, that's so cool. Button extension, and what's nice about this is that, you know, some of these things, for example, if I look at the button handler here, you know, this update background is actually on an Android view. Look at this. This is cool because what this does, it takes in an Android view, which is android.views. That's like the base. So what it does here is it's like, hey, you don't need to worry about the visibility on the button. All this stuff is because of Android inheritance is the same and iOS inheritance is the same, is you get all that stuff, which is very cool. So you can not worry about any of those things. So this is nice. This means if you wanted to add, for example, a feature and everything, you could add it at the base level and in this view extensions here, which is cool. Yeah. Yep. I need to now. Oh, it's to make it easier to override buttons. Yeah, handlers. Yeah. So you got this property bucket, adding it in there, good to go. Yeah, I like these extensions. That's so cool. So now we have this, you know, update my property, things like that. Let's see if there's anything else. So we have iOS, similar things, just overriding things that are here. There's the, so you have, oh, look at this. You have touch up inside, touch up outside, touch button down. So those are the different views. You were talking about your button earlier. I forget who it was. Talking about the buttons. But yeah, we have like basically connect and disconnect on here. So those different states get checked. So we get a released, clicked, released, pressed. So you get these. iOS has a lot of different events and things like that. So lots of events going on here. So you can get all those things. Yep. And that makes sense too. So actually, if you go to this, oh, we saw it earlier, right? Look at this. Pressed, released, clicked. So you get all those different events that are happening. So I think that's what you're looking for right there, is you get all those events. And you could add your own event into it. Wouldn't be that hard. Is there a comparable Android function? No, there's not. You know, Android doesn't expose that at all. Oh no, it does. Look at that. On touch. So it actually has a touch event. Look at that. Wow, I'm an idiot. It definitely does. So you get a pressed and released and a clicked. Who knew? And there's the button click handler that's there. Huh. So the button has a touch listener on it. So and that's what it's doing there. So they're looking for down and up on it, so you could register into those. Interesting. What about Windows? What does Windows have? Let's look. Same thing. Connect handlers, on click. I don't know if it's going. Oh, it must have a touch event. Yeah, look at this. This is so simple. Just very nice. Very nice. Yep. On click, on pressed. Oh, interesting. It doesn't look like it has a pointer released. Interesting. Let's look at this. New pointer event. Connect handlers. On click. I wonder if there is a... Let's look at this. I'm just gonna... Pointer pressed. Oh, I don't know if I have this. Let's look. Let's look at the documentation here. Pointer pressed event. Oh, there is a pointer released. Okay. Ooh. Maybe I'll just implement this. I'm into it. Pointer released event. Now, I don't actually have UWP running here, but I think that you would want this too. Pointer released. What do you think about the Stream Deck tablet? I haven't. Have I seen a Stream Deck tablet? I saw there was something in the news today. It's called like the XR or something like X something. I know they announced something today. I don't know what it is though. I think it's on here. The MK2, this one? No, this isn't it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what this is. Oh, it's just like I don't get it. Hack your workflow. Interesting. Is this the same as before? I don't know what the difference are. Oh, Steam Deck. Oh, you know, I saw that on Engadget. That's yeah, Stream Deck. Steam Deck. It was on here earlier. Where's it at? Yes. Wow, it was like on the top of that thing, and they must have. There's that. I was Stream Deck and Steam Deck. This one is the one you're talking about. I don't know. I ordered 2 Nintendo Switches OLEDs today, so, bam. Yeah, that is really funny. Huh? It's fine. It's cool. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. There's been a lot of these. I mean, Steam is great. So if you own all the games that are there, then you're good. It is good. I think the resolution is good. Makes sense. you don't need anything super high res, $400 is a great price. I think it's just going to be just that, right? It's running some custom thing. It looks like Android. Is it Android? What is it running? No, it can't be Android. It's got to be like a custom Windows variant. SteamOS. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see, like, how does it support everything? That's a little. Yeah, no, actually it costs $650 because you're gonna need more than 64 gigs, unless it takes a SD card like the Switch does. That's the thing. All right, let's do this pointer released event. All right, so let's do this. Let's do this. Go to definition. There we go. Let's do this pointer event handler dot. Okay. And then I wonder if the team will accept this pull request if I do it. All right, let's look here. And we want to remove this handler. Am I going to contribute code? Oh my gosh. This would be awesome if so. Oh, and I need to do... Look at me, I'm contributing code. No way. On pointer released. I think it needs that. Zamalama says it's supposed to take an SD card as well. It said the Steam Deck will run both Windows and Linux games. Somehow, magic. It's got to be some dual boot thing that they have going on there. Interesting. Yeah, custom Linux with it must be dual boot. I mean, they pay the Windows license, I guess. Yeah, that's fascinating. Nah, I'm not a huge PC gamer though. But those games need to be optimized. The thing about a console is that it is optimized for on pointer released. And then here you can just do released. Oh my gosh, I'm a code contributor. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, cool. I did it. Interesting. Oh, should probably null this out. On pointer released. Boom. Amazing. Wow. Now, I don't know why. Why is this not lighting up for me? This is in Windows, button handler Windows. Pretty sure I have the Windows SDK. Maybe I don't have it. I should have it. I don't know. I'm considering getting a full-blown PC in microform that has the beefiness to run games. I don't know. I'm just full rig ATX all the way. Just if you're gonna go big, you might as well go big on a nice, awesome machine. That's what I say. Okay, so we now have a pretty good grasp of the architecture here between how the button handler is set up here for the different platforms and how you can contribute. And look at that, I just found a bug. I just added the bug there. There's the implementation. There's the extension methods. So if you're looking to contribute, hopefully you can kind of bop around that. So if we go over here on the side, let's go through it one more time. We have core under core, and the core is going to be all the interfaces. So here are all the interfaces, including things like iText alignment, iText input. How does library bindings work in .NET MAUI? I think it works the same as it does today. You would create a iOS and Android binding project and then expose that the same, but around .NET 6. So, and this is actually, there's actually iPicker extension. That's kind of interesting. So you have core, then you have handlers. So that's where your button handlers are going to be. So you're going to have these are the different handlers that are implemented. So these are the native implementations for each of them here. So some things like entry, a graphics view, an image, things like that. No special binding projects that I know of, no. I think it's the same. I think it'll work the same. Labels. And so these are all good. So you can just kind of go through them and see them here. Picker and search and slider. And then the big thing down here is going to be this platform, right? So these are all your extensions. So you kind of want to put that platform code inside there. really be able to go in and just sort of and add that. So here's the Android one. So anytime you want to access like the Android or iOS native functionality inside of here, here's the Maui picker. And it does. Look at that. It's like UI picker, a hash set, can perform. So there's all these extensions and sort of base implementation in it, which is kind of cool. So this is like wrapping stuff. Where's the Maui label? Interesting. So there's like a Maui checkbox. Oh, wow. Let me look at the checkbox. Oh, yeah, because checkbox is custom drawn. Okay, cool. Is enabled. So if I looked at the checkbox, let's look at checkbox here. I think that's a cool example. Let's close everything. So let's kind of sweep it down so we can redo it. So if we're just going to look at how do I collapse all? Is this a button? Does that collapse everything? Nope. There we go. Okay. Core, source, core, core. So we have I checkbox, which is an I view, has is checked and a foreground color. That's cool. Then you would go into your handlers and you would notice that there's a property bucket here with the checkbox handler. So it has a background, is checked, and a foreground. And Android. It's interesting they're not using the same Android or not, but that's fine. Android here, minimal implementation. This is an app checkbox. Has a checkbox listener in here. Creates the native view. Connect it. Update background. Update is checked, etc., etc. And this update is checked has an extension method, which is inside of the platform folder under Android, under checkbox extensions. So here it's going to do all the state enablers. It's going to set properties on these specific controls and the different check states, which is kind of cool. Not bad. Different tint colors. That's cool. Tint colors. That's beautiful. Let's look at the button for the checkbox for iOS. That's kind of cool because the checkbox on iOS is self-drawn. So here's checkbox Maui. There is no UI checkbox. You know what I mean? So actually, what it's going to do is create this new checkbox Maui. And instead of just shoving all the implementation in here, what they did is anything inside that platform folder is where you're interacting with the platform specific stuff. So you have iOS, and you have a Maui checkbox. You also have checkbox extensions, which are extensions to the Maui checkbox, which is kind of interesting as well. So kind of some parallelism there. And you can see the Maui checkbox is actually a UI button. Oh, that's interesting. And then I think probably at some point it is going to be... Frank and I wrote this code. Or some of the code, the original code at least. There is lines and all sorts of good stuff. Look at that. Look at that. Wow, look, is this the code that Frank and I wrote? I think it might be. Back in the day. Graphics context, it draws a whole thing. Beautiful. Beautiful. Do we do live coding on a VPN? Well, I'm at work. I'm on the Microsoft VPN all day. Good questions. All right, so that's how that's set up. So the question is, do I need to test this thing? So we have some core unit tests, layouts, hosting. Hopefully not. Let's look at the device tests. Handlers. Okay, there are handler tests. Okay, button. Oh, there is nothing for Windows. That's good. Button tests. I don't think I'll need to do much in here. All right, cool. So we walk kind of through that. Now let's go ahead and let's look. So we're not going to do any of this stuff, right? We're not going to check in any of this my property stuff. But we are going to check in this Windows code. I think that this is valid. Let's check this out. I think I actually contributed code. Look at this. Pointer released. That's there. I create a new pointer event handler for pointer released. We're going to attach it. We're going to remove the handler. All right. then we're going to get, yeah, different things on here. Now, I wonder if in the sample app, let's look at the sample app. Oh, I don't know if it's in here. Oh, controls, samples. There's no WinUI sample in here. The button page. I want to see what all they have on this button page. I assume they have some things on it. Come on. I don't know if it's liking me on the XAML. Oh, there we go. Oh, whoa. Maybe not. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. So we have default, disabled, button, text. Do we have any events in the background? Let's see what it's testing here. It's a little upset at me about something. You mean like the live coders team, like the livecoders.dev team? These fine folks? Is that what you're talking about? It does seem to have the blink tag turned on. It's mad at me about something. It is a preview. Yeah. I don't know. Why would it matter if you're coding on VPN? You're just streaming to Twitch, so it doesn't really matter what all you're doing, I guess. It's very upsetting at me about something. Let's... Okay. Oh. Oh, weird. Okay, there's nothing in the code behind. I would think that the button page would have some view models associated with it. I guess not. Interesting. It'd be kind of cool for it to like raise notifications or whatnot. Let's go ahead and contribute this. Let's go ahead and say, we're gonna, now if you're gonna contribute code, I'm in my own fork. You're gonna wanna create a branch, okay? So down over here, in your Git changes, you can also do it there. You can say, up here, and you can say new branch, and I'll say Windows, my machine is freaking out apparently, button released, button released event. Create. All right, so now we're on that branch. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna stage that one file because we're not gonna add our shenanigans. I'm gonna say, here we added event to match functionality of iOS of other platforms. Boom. And then we can do, so now as long as you're not on main, you've created a branch on your fork. I'm going to say commit, staged, and sync. Now, probably they might kick this back because I don't have any other things at all going on as far as like tests or other things, but I don't know if there are, but we're here. So I've done it. It has one outgoing up here. So we're going to go and push that. And then I'll say create pull request. And yeah, here we go. So here we go. So we want this to go into main, my Maui, Windows button released event. I'll say Windows, add functionality. I'll say we are only accepting pull issues on our banner backlog, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I'll say description. I guess the question is there property backlog? I don't know if it's on the backlog, but I think that it should probably be on the backlog. You know what I mean? So we're just gonna do it anyways and see what happens. Implements. So I'll say, when walking through the code, I noticed that that Windows did not implement an on-released event handler like iOS and Android. By implementing the pointer released event, this will match functionality on the other platforms. This does not have anything in the backlog but I wanted to submit it anyways. All right, so it doesn't implement anything. That's sad. They're not gonna like that. Implements additions made. I'll say adds on released for Windows on button checklist. Yeah, sure. What I do is targets a single property for a single control. Yep, adds a property. Yeah, didn't do anything. That's good. That's good. Adds a map. Look at all this stuff. It did it. Implements actual property updates. Tags ported. Sure, why not? I didn't really do anything, so it's like, oh, it's all there. Does introduce a new control? If yes, no. Nope. 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 Yes. Is there a smaller possibility? No. Any of the checkbox apply to appear. I'll need to provide testing and demonstrate accessibility features. Create the pull request. Pow! Now I don't know if this is good at all, but we're gonna say that I did it. I'm officially a Maui contributor, at least in theory. This looks good. Look at me. You're not even doing it on Windows. Done. Now I kind of understand the process. It's really easy to add some functionality in there. That's super simple, especially because a lot of the base hard work was done already. That's not bad. All right, so that's the handlers, but I wanted to show you something else. I wanted to show you in the code Essentials. Okay, check this out. Check this out. Over here under Essentials, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is cool. This is Microsoft Maui Essentials. What do I do to set up the repo to allow people to make these what do I have to set up on a repo to allow people to make these contributions? You don't have to set up anything. You have a repo that's public, people can contribute. You just have a repo. Like if you went to, let's say like github.com, like here's my coffee app, right? This is my coffee app, it's open source. You could just make a pull request. Just add to it. You're good to go. You do some issues back and forth, things like that. You just open source it. You're good to go. Boom. I think that's what you're asking. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, but maybe. So this is Microsoft Maui Essentials, and it actually uses Microsoft Maui graphics, which is cool. And then it basically has all this stuff inside here. So what's kind of cool here is like if I take, for example, how Maui Essentials is here, so as all the Xamarin Essentials stuff is, this was sort of brought over, ported all of the Xamarin Essentials over to it, right? So there's a bunch of stuff that'll get removed, like obviously this Windows Mobile thing doesn't need to be here anymore and stuff like that. But it's set up exactly the same, just right now it doesn't have interfaces associated with it. But if, for example, you looked at this app info, there's a net standard. So this is the net standard. This is what's implemented. on each native platform. So Android, iOS, and Windows, and things like that. Mac OS, whatever. Those are all implemented there. And then you have shared, which is the public API. So notice that like I have the platform specific platform package name, get name, version info, things like that. This is the public API. So I can call package info.name, .package name, .version strings, build string. It didn't change at all, and I don't know if it's going to change at all going forward. But there's also, you know, Android implementations. You have platform get package name, get version string, and you have it for the other platforms. So it's really super simple. You have public API that calls the platform get name, which is then in this sort of net standard bait and switch, so that'll get thrown away. And then you just have a platform specific code just right there. So things like the implementation for each of the different properties. So if you're looking to add new things, you can just add them in there and you're good to go. Look at that. And it has all the directives, all the other stuff inside there. So you can look at the media picker, the main thread, you know, sensors, all that stuff inside there. And there's still a sample app too. So you could actually boot up like the sample app that's inside of here and run it. So there's a whole project in here. And this project is all .NET MAUI. So this is going to use .NET MAUI, and it's going to be the Essentials project for it, which is cool. So you can actually like look at the sensor stuff and note that it's been updated. Look at this. So all the samples, all that stuff. I don't know if Matthew Leibowitz did this. He may have, but it's been all updated. So this is a sample project that got updated and converted to a .NET MAUI one. And notice that like this doesn't use a single project, although it could and probably will at some point, but you don't have to necessarily. But yeah, you have it all in here. Just boom, and all the different things, all the different files, all the different things that are inside of here. So there's the main app, which is set up. So Essentials, platform. So it's all been migrated over. So now you'll have things like MAUI, platform, initialization, which is really cool. Is it finally shipping in 6.0? Yeah, it's all shipping in 6.0. It's all good. Yeah, so all this, so in the box, so check this out too. Let's do this. I'll do, let's do cd test, let's do make dir MAUI 6 test. And I'll do cd MAUI 6. I'll do .NET new MAUI. And then how do I just open? Start? There we go. Nope. How do I do like start? How do I launch the folder? Oh, there we go. Start dot. So here, when I create a new .NET MAUI stuff, so I have my Android app. So I just created a new MAUI project, so I can kind of show you how this works under the hood. And I have resources, so I have all this inside of here. But I don't have an Android or iOS project. They're all just a single project. And you can see the Android stuff's in the Android folder. And then the iOS stuff and the Mac stuff is here. I think it's all going to be moved at some point. But a cool thing here is that actually there's this new thing, which is... Oh, wait a second. Where's it at? Oh, this is the old one. What happened? That was preview 5. What? Why do I have that? That's not correct. That is not the correct... What? Okay, that's not the right one. On preview 6. All right, hold on. Hold the phone. Huh. I do have the new templates. .NET new... Oh, did it? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's weird that it didn't do it. Sometimes I'm really bad at that. Thank you so much. I was like, yeah, wait a second. That's not correct. That's not correct. Let's delete that then. There's .NET New Maui and .NET New Maui Blazor. So there we go. I was like, what? What's going on here? There we go. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Cool. Yeah, look at that. It did move. I thought so. So now we have a platforms folder and then the Android code and things like that. So that's nice and organized and tidy. And then inside here, it has this new thing, which is use Maui, which is cool. And then let's say you didn't have a .NET Maui project. You can come in and say use Maui Essentials. And you can set that to true. That's going to be a new flag in there. So you can use that and that'll bring in that stuff. And if you use Maui, that's true by default there, which is cool. But what I want to show is that if you come in the startup, you have use Maui app, but you can also do dot lifecycle configure. How do you do it? Services. Is that it? That's not what I wanted. There's a thing that I want. They do it in the sample. So where's it at? Source. Configure Maui handlers. Oh, so many fonts. This. Builder. Configure lifecycle events. It's an app host builder. Configure lifecycle events. Oh yeah, I think that must be. That must be in there, no? Oh, there it is. That's a new one. Configure lifecycle events, which is inside of Microsoft Maui lifecycle events. And then you can do like if Android. I think you can do like E dot, and then I think you can do. Is that not it? Let me see how they did it. And then you have life, add Android. Oh, interesting. I copy this in here. This is cool. So you have platform, which is inside of .NET Maui. This would be life. Life. How they do that? So cool. Oh yeah, So then you have all the native things inside of here. So you have things like on permissions request inside of here like this. And then you can do oh yeah, look at that. How do you do this? Platform. That. How do I get that? I have to look at how they did that. Oh yeah, del dot. Oh, interesting. How did they do this? So this stuff is going to be like kind of baked in. It's gonna be interesting. On request. Oh, interesting. On request permissions. Oh, interesting. I'm just gonna grab this code. Oh, interesting. Android dot. So you can get access to like the Android lifecycle stuff right in the app startup code, basically, right? And then here's what's cool is like you can come in and you could say, you know, counter.label.text, and then you could do like app info dot, and then notice that using MAUI Essentials is just in there, right? It's all in there. So if you want to start contributing, you could basically come in to the .NET MAUI app inside of here, and you could just start adding platform specific, you know, code and functionality. So if you're not a UI person, but you're like, hey, I have all these great, you know, helper libraries, things that are accessing the native functionality, you're going to have access to all that here. So if you want to start contributing, that's all going to be packed into .NET MAUI at launch, right? So, Vortex, you're welcome. I'm trying. But there you go. Yeah, so all sorts of things. So if you're like, oh man, I want this feature, I want that, like this, and now's a good time to come in and start, you know, start going in here and start adding some code, doing some pull requests. So when you think about .NET MAUI, it can be .NET MAUI, but it can also be .NET MAUI Essentials that you can start contributing to right away. And you can start adding different pieces of functionality in here. So if you're looking to do that, hey Lachlan, how's it going? I was just walking through the .NET MAUI Essentials repo that we have in there. So anyways, I'm actually just wrapping up because about 5:10 over, and it's been an hour and a half. Feel pretty good about that. Put this up on the YouTubes next Thursday. I'm gonna do a new .NET 6 preview 6 video on Tuesday. Gerald's really quick, but I don't like to watch Gerald's videos until I finish my video. And I like to do it on Windows. He kind of does it on Mac. So I think it'll be a nice compliment in general that we have going on there. Thanks to Steve for pointing out the awesomeness that I missed that control over there. Any questions that people have? Little ask me anything at the end over here. We'll see what we got going on. I got a clip. Someone clipped something. That's cool. Yeah, Gen X Dev. I'm not sure on setting up a repo. I don't know if I do a good job of setting up repos and doing stuff. What I would say is like go find a repo that you yourself contribute to, and then see how it's structured, and you could grab some inspiration from there. Basically, if you're setting up a new repo and you want contribution guidelines and build scripts and things like that. Do you know the time frame for .NET 6 release? Well, you definitely want to check out .NETconf.net over here. So .NET Conf is .NET 6 launch. You want to check that out. Yeah. James Gerald Maui launch celebration video. We could do that. We could definitely do that. You definitely sign up, save the date on your favorite calendar over there for the .NET, or for the .NET Conf 2021, baby. We're there. That's not a bad idea. I don't know exactly when bits are going to drop, but you know, there you go. Come celebrate and learn about the things you do with .NET 6. Can you do the benefits of .NET MAUI over Xamarin? Good question. I would first say definitely check out this video I did here. Should be here. There you go. It's a little bit different. Okay, so there's a few parts, and someone can maybe I'll make this a little bite later. All right, so let's think about this. So Xamarin was a few things. One, it was a company that got acquired by Microsoft, but Xamarin has some core pieces of technology that brought iOS and Android and macOS to be able to use .NET on those devices inside of apps and write those apps in C# or F# or basically .NET languages. Now, what that meant in the beginning with Xamarin is that you would build your native UIs with like iOS storyboards or Android XML or macOS storyboards or zip files as they used to be, or code. And then what you would do is you would create like a shared library, and that could be like a .NET Standard library, for example, or just a shared code base with all of your models, view models, services, code in it. That would be shared. So I'm making a web request, pulling down data, pulling that all down inside of it. Boom, you're good to go. And what was nice about this is that you could share that code with other apps. So if you have a Windows application or you had a web application built with C# and .NET, boom, you're good to go to automatically do that. Now, with Xamarin Forms, that was a layer on top of Xamarin iOS and Xamarin Android and Xamarin Mac and Windows. And what it did is it created an abstraction on top of those code bases for the user interface. So Xamarin Forms brought in that core piece of functionality that enabled you to write cross-platform apps with cross-platform UI. So with Xamarin and .NET, you could write cross-platform apps, but it was separate UI. This is a way to share shared UI across all the different platforms. So a lot of times Xamarin and Xamarin Forms gets kind of gets mixed up, right? In it, but really that's the two things: is there's the base level, and then there's Xamarin Forms. So two things are happening. One, Xamarin iOS, Xamarin Android, Xamarin Mac are just turning into iOS for .NET, Android for .NET, Mac for .NET, and they have the base level requirements. So anything that you could do before, you can still do, but with .NET 6, how it's being built up. And that's cool because it uses the same project systems, packaging systems, command line tools, hot reload will work everywhere. So with .NET 6, all of that mobile goodness that Xamarin brought into the .NET world is using the same exact bits and pieces and functionality. So it has a lot of advantages. Now, on top of that, like as things were happening, Xamarin Essentials came out, and that's another library that basically did what Xamarin Forms did, but for our platform APIs. So something like Xamarin iOS and Android, you could access those native APIs in C#, which was cool. Whereas something like React Native or Flutter, you have to go write Swift or Kotlin code or Java code for those platforms when you want to go access them, unless someone writes a plugin or something like that. But somebody has to write the code somewhere. So the cool part about Xamarin was that you had all the APIs in C#. So what Xamarin Essentials is, it created this abstraction of platform API. So connectivity, sensors, geolocation into one API. So .NET 6 is going to unify the runtimes. And then what's happening here is Xamarin Forms itself, mostly really targeted mobile, really for phone and for iOS and Android. It did have Windows support, and it had a preview of macOS support, which I ship products with Xamarin Forms on desktop. But with .NET MAUI, a few things are happening. First and foremost is that it's going to be using the .NET 6 unified tooling and runtime and all that stuff. And then it's going to be sort of re-architected from the ground up. So that's why I went through the handlers and the new architecture. And that stuff basically removes all the cruft of the past, as Xamarin Forms is now 6 years old. And .NET MAUI is sort of a complete refresh, built for speed and optimization and performance out of the box, with all the latest and modern bits and pieces. And then what it does is it adds in that new architecture. So it's easier to extend, it's easier to write new controls, it's easier to bring new pieces of functionality in. And what it's doing is it is streamlining development for developers, if you will. So for example, if I toggle over here, you noticed that I have just one project for iOS, Android, and Mac OS. So first class support for mobile and desktop. And here's a WinUI project for Windows. But I have Android, iOS in here, and I can actually toggle between iOS, Android, and my different devices and simulators. And for iOS and Android and Windows and Mac, you can use all of the hot reload and XAML hot reload. So you can just start writing code, debugging it locally or on your device from a Windows or a Mac machine with Visual Studio 2022. Get everything there. But also it adds in all sorts of cross-platform things like images, splash screens, fonts. I mean, actually, if you look at this code, what's set up here is 100% cross-platform. All of my images, which this is going to be my app icon, splash screen, all my images, all my fonts, SVGs, PNGs, doesn't matter. It handles everything for me. And I can still get into the platform specific code, which is cool. All of it's open source, 100%. And it brings in .NET MAUI Essentials, which is the evolution of Xamarin Essentials. So it's all in the box. You get access to all that stuff that's there. And because it's re-architected from the ground up, these controls, it also means that the team's working super hard on app size and app performance to get like sub 1 second startup times for your apps. So they're super duper fast with ahead of time compilation. So to me, what's nice about it is you get all of this great benefit of the years of experience of the Xamarin and Xamarin Forms team and the Essentials team all comes forward. The community toolkits come forward. And additionally, all of your code comes forward. So if you're building a Xamarin Forms app, you can easily port it over to .NET MAUI. There's going to be a command line tool that brings it over. There's a back compatibility story there too, so you can add sort of shim back compat layers into it. And your apps will continue to work, but use the latest and greatest code and architecture to make it even faster and more performant there. And of course, you get to use the world's my favorite and best IDE, Visual Studio, to build all your apps, or command line or code editors or things like that. It will all work because it's built with the same tooling. So you can go to a command line and say .NET run, and it'll run on an Android emulator or iOS device, for example. So you get all of that. And on top of that, for example, you will also get integration with Blazor, which is how to build interactive web UIs with C#, 100% C#. So what's cool is that .NET MAUI Blazor as a Blazor web view that you can bring in Blazor code, so your Razor code from your Blazor web apps, into a .NET MAUI application. So if you're a web developer, you can now build native applications with .NET MAUI and Blazor together. And what's great is that Blazor code is running super fast because .NET MAUI applications ship with the .NET runtime. So there's no WebAssembly, there's no server, there's no anything like that. Everything is rendered locally. You can stylize it to be platform independent or platform there. So it's all there. It's all 100% there. And you can use, like I said, Visual Studio 2022 on Windows, Visual Studio 2022 on Mac, or you can use command line and you can use code editors however you want. Yeah. And of course, like I said, the community toolkit is also a great community open source repo that has all sorts of great controls and helpers and extensions for Xamarin Forms and now .NET MAUI, and it's unifying with the Windows Community Toolkit too, which is super awesome. There are going to be some performance analysis coming out in the future, so definitely keep track of the blog. And yeah, go to town there. I think this has actually been a really good video. I'm going to snip this and I'm going to put it onto my YouTube too from this video, which is cool. Let's see. Blah 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 blah. Do I understand it correct that that another difference is that how Microsoft itself designing and maintaining it? I mean, Xamarin was acquired by Microsoft, the company itself, and all the products, and it's part of .NET. I would say that more things are unified more than ever with .NET 6. So there's like a big product roadmap and things that are worked on across the board. You can go to this website, themes of .NET. I'll put it over here. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Let's see. Do I know if eventually to make VS for Mac equivalent to Visual Studio? So there's a lot of work going into Visual Studio for Mac 2022. Equivalent's hard to say because like you're never going to be able to do Windows development on a Mac or certain things there. But definitely the idea is to make more things comparable for the workloads and the tooling and things like that. Would it be able to come? Would it become possible to have a great experience developing MAUI from VS Code instead of VS? Yeah, what I think you want to look at is the Comet Project, which is from James Clancy. And this is a project that is all about building Xamarin and .NET MAUI with MVU inside of VS Code and VS for Mac and other things like that with hot reload built in. The thing with Visual Studio proper on Mac and Windows is you're going to get a lot of that advanced tooling, optimizations, Roslyn, all that great stuff that's built right in to the IDE itself. However, there's samples, and in one of my first videos that I did with .NET MAUI is everything was in VS Code, and there's work and things like that. But as far as it being maybe as user-friendly, I think that VS proper is going to be the way to go. As for client applications, I think it is in general. Will it ever evolve and you'll be able to do more and more? I think, of course, probably over time. But there's only so many resources in the day. Hey, how's it going, PC Nerd? Good to see you. I think we're just wrapping up things, actually, over here. I will put this up on my YouTube, of course. There's probably been a billion things going on there, but you can subscribe over there. I'll put up this highlight video and some .NET MAUI stuff, too. Yeah. Cool. All right, everyone. Well, hope you have a great weekend. I'm going to go do some hiking this weekend. Should be lots of fun. Yeah. Going pretty good. Looking forward to a weekend of Xamarin Dev. Nice. Yeah, I got a lot of projects I need to work on. I'm not going to lie about it. It's going to be good. I need to update my cycling app and my stream timer. I have a bunch of PRs I just need to package up and get out there, which is cool. I was going to work on them today, but I decided not to. Just kind of work on this stuff. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm going to go figure out what I'm doing for dinner. All right, cool. Have a great weekend. I'll see everyone later. I won't be here next weekend, or next week. But I will be back later. Here you go. Actually, before I go, Vortex was asking about some styling. Check out this. Here you go. I'll go from there. Hey, Bill, good to see you. All right, everyone, have a good weekend. I will see you all later. 2 weeks, probably. I think I'll be around.